And that's when I said, pick Vandy, not Alabama.
Because that happened, and then we just
Oh no,
froze.
Trevor! Right when we start, my boy is all freezing. He's as cold as Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Batman, the bad ones at least.
Yeah, the bad ones, the
The
terrible.
really bad ones. Guys, welcome back. I'm Omer,
I'm Trevor.
and this is O
Auntie.
Graps. We got a lot to get into. Trevor, first of all, you know what I just realized? I feel like every show we do, we're both previewing and reviewing a pay-per-view.
Yeah, here lately, I feel like that's what's been happening.
And I kind of realize, because here's the thing. More often than not, both AEW and WWE at this point have like a monthly pay-per-view at this point, at
Right.
least. And they never have them on like same weekends, or you rarely ever have them on same weekends. So it's like
Right.
literally every single week, it's like, oh, WrestleDream, Saudi Mania, Bad Blood. Like, it's just like, so we're gonna be constantly in a loop of reviewing wrestling shows, unfortunately, or at least
Get used
talking
to
about them. But
get used to it.
that is what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be talking about WWE Bad Blood. We're gonna be previewing AEW WrestleDream. We're also gonna get Trevor's thoughts on the brand spanking new AEW TV deal that looks to make them profitable. As I catch a little fruit fly that flew past me. That's how you do it, kids. Be sure to smash that like button. Be sure to go over to youtube.com/OTGraps. We're almost at 400 subs there. Let's get to 400 by the end of this stream and make that man.
I'm stuck.
Oh man, he had a nice smile on his face, make him the happiest man he can be.
Oh, something I haven't got a chance to talk to you about. I want to just ask you briefly. Now
Go
that
for
we
it.
don't have to make thinking about it. What'd you think of the documentary?
Oh, you want to talk about the Vince McMahon documentary?
I mean, you
Well,
can give me like a brief
how about
summary. You don't have to.
let's actually talk about it like fully. But first, let's say what's up to the people in the chat. Taco Kid,
Hello, everybody.
what's good, Taco Kid? I'm actually gonna see Taco Kid. But this weekend, gonna be out in
Oh, cool.
Seattle for WrestleDream on the game. Shout out to Taco Kid. In 6 weeks, have been pay-per-view every week, man. Wrestling fans are eating.
Dude, they enjoy it, dude. Like it's crazy. It's so much wrestling. It's ridiculous.
Yep. Haseen Terrell in the chat says hi there. We got CC as well saying hello. Hello,
Yes.
CC. The pride of New Jersey. Hopefully you're doing well.
Yes.
And also the DMV. Shout out to everyone in the chat. You bring up a good point though, Trevor. Let's talk about it. So the Vince McMahon documentary chronicled the life, career, and controversies around wrestling's biggest and most influential figure, at least of the past 50 years. Overall thoughts on that were, it confirmed, I think, what you and I have said about Vince for years at this point. I mean, that Vince was a scumbag. Like,
Yeah.
I like that. That's the thing. I think people when we're talking about Vince, you know, like they're talking about like, innocent till proven guilty, blah 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 blah, and like that's all fine, right? But from the stuff that we know that is true, and also the stuff that the pattern that has like come about him, like with all of the scandals and all of the accusations, and I was like, the very best thing you can say about Vince in like as a human being is like the dude was a massive bully and a scumbag. That's the nicest thing you could say. And
Yeah.
for me, like my big takeaway was like this documentary, like I think it was like not really made for wrestling fans. I think you and I had talked about it. It's like it was made for the general public. If you're a wrestling fan, you probably knew about most of the stuff outside of
Right.
the Ring Boy stuff, which you know, I do want to talk about separately, but I think most of the stuff was stuff we already knew. And like, again, it just confirmed what we knew. Vince McMahon's not a nice guy.
Yeah. You know, it also it did confirm that. It also confirmed that Hulk Hogan was kind of a piece of crap too. I mean, we already knew that, but it definitely confirmed. And you know what? Like,
I'm sorry. This dude, Andre, he told the Andre story again in this docuseries.
oh my God, he told the Andre story so many times. And what was really funny was Tony Atlas, Bruce Pritchard, Star Wars Sap, everybody said the same thing everybody always knows. Well, in Hulk Hogan goes, well, that was the first time Andre's been slammed. No, it wasn't. That was the first time Andre lost. No, it wasn't. That's not even the first time you wrestled him. And you said that 30 times in this whole documentary.
Trevor, it wasn't even the first time that Andre had been slammed by Hogan in WWF.
Exactly.
It happened a couple of years ago. Like I think 4 or 5 years before at Shea Stadium.
Yeah, it happened. It happened. It was. I want to say it was a dark show. I don't think it was televised.
It wasn't televised, but it was like
Yeah.
was like 30,000 people there. That was a big show.
Right. But like, it happened. It happened. It happened more than once. You slammed him more than once. He's been beaten more than once, and you take credit for all this crap that had nothing to do with you. And also, he was like, "Yeah, we had to call the Iron Sheik match." Oh my God!
Sheik, I wish. I prayed, bro. Do you know how happy I would have been if Sheik was alive for them to interview him for this docuseries?
Oh my God! They said they tried to, but he was actually, I guess, too sick or something to do it.
Well, he passed away.
But yeah, he passed away at 23. A lot of these interviews happened at 22. Yeah.
Oh man, y'all should have had the Sheik in for this. Are you serious?
A lot of these interviews happened before.
Oh my God! Half this docuseries was about Hulk Hogan. Could you?
Before Hulk Hogan before Vince even left, a lot of this was done. And if you notice the end, he wasn't able to. He declined the final interview because of what was going on. but dude, he was like, yeah, like the Iron Sheik match, we had to call him the fly. I ran up to him and I kicked him in the mouth and I was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. This is what we're doing. And like, Sheik has talked about this match in nauseam. That's not what happened.
Mr. McMahon say, tonight you lose to Hulk Hogan. I say, okay, I lose to this jabroni, but Mr. McMahon, please, do not bite the hand that feed me. That's basically
That's not even. He's not lying. That's exactly. That's basically almost verbatim what he said.
Shout out to Sheiky Baby, rest in peace.
That's almost what he said. Like Hogan, dude. If Hogan was Pinocchio, his nose would be like the size of Texas
this point. The beginning where he's combing his like hair extensions. That's what killed me. That did it for me.
You know what? The most honest people on that show were probably on that documentary were probably Shawn Michaels. He literally said, he goes, you know what? I was a dick. I mean, what can I say? I was a dickhead. Like, he literally admitted to everything he did wrong and what he did wrong. Brett took no responsibility for anything.
No. Oh, here's the thing. Brett will never take responsibility for anything.
Exactly.
But also, he was candid. He was very candid. He
was honest to a point. He was definitely honest to a point. And if you know anything about the relationship between them, you know what parts he was holding back a little bit on. But in his defense, like Omar said, he was very candid. He was open about a lot of things. I won't say everything, because you wouldn't, until his dying days, you would never get the truth out of Bret Hart about a lot of stuff.
Except Goldberg, how he feels about Bill Goldberg.
Except Goldberg. He'll tell that all day long. and ask him who's the best wrestler in wrestling. Him. No one else is ever better than him.
Well, look, this guy, El Dandy, he's pretty good. Shit, for the greatest promo Bret Hart has ever cut. It's like, how about El Dandy? He seems like a stand-up guy. He can challenge for my title. I'm like, bro, give this man an Emmy right now. He will never cut a better promo than this.
I mean,
Yeah.
One thing that I didn't know, that I knew but I didn't know, I didn't know his relationship with his father. Vince's
Yeah.
relationship with his father.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
That was an
Um,
interesting one. Like, in the docuseries, for all y'all out there, Vince tells this story of like, he did not know his biological father, who was Vincent J. McMahon, Vince McMahon Sr., until he was 12 years old. And he tells the story of, like, the first time he met him, he ran up to him to give him a big hug, and Vince Sr. just kind of like shies away,
yeah,
gives him a pat on
that's
the
what
back.
it is.
And, I think that's like a very interesting dynamic that was captured in this docuseries. It was like, for lack of a better term, like the trauma of, like, Vince, his relationship with not only his biological father, but the abuse that he suffered from his biological mother, the abuse he suffered from his stepfather, and kind of how that permeated through the generations of McMahon, because there was an entire episode basically that was dedicated to Vince's treatment of his kids. And, I think
Yep.
Shane McMahon, right? That was like the big one.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Like, and God bless Stephanie. God bless her. She's first and foremost. I could say some bad things about both his kids, but nothing that they actually intentionally did. They let some things go that they shouldn't have, especially with Stephanie. I wouldn't have let being called a let like pretty much being called a slut. No, I wouldn't have let that go. That was he wanted that to happen, and I wouldn't have let that go. But big ups on her for stopping some of the storylines, which he was mad about her for.
I mean,
Oh,
look, if we want to talk about the storyline that Vince even admitted to, the storyline where in storyline he would have impregnated his own daughter.
Yeah, that was the storyline.
Number one reason why I am afraid to, for a very long time I was afraid to show up my non-wrestling friends wrestling. Stuff like that, because you never know what's gonna happen, and it's like, could you imagine like introducing someone to wrestling and like that's the first thing they see? It's like,
Dude, could you imagine, like, if for instance, could you imagine introducing a young woman that wants to get into wrestling, right? And she watches the Trish Stratus stuff that they did early on.
Yep.
That's yeah. Like, he pretty much treated her like if she was an errand girl, but she was pretty much
It's a dog. No, like he literally like physically treated her like a dog. Like that was the whole point of that segment.
She walked around on all fours, unfortunately, and barked like a dog.
Yeah.
It was wild. There was a lot of stuff in there, and actually, I'm actually very proud of his kids and proud of Shane too for like trying to step out of that shadow and trying to change that narrative.
That and I think like that's like one of the more interesting stories that was like kind of told. Because look, aside from the allegations and things like that we talked about and like are very serious and need to be told as part of the story of Vince McMahon. I think like this was a really interesting at least surface level like dissection of kind of what makes Vince tick. I think no one will ever be able to get this much insight into Vince and like how he operates, but this was like as much as we will ever really get. And one of the things that really like shines out is like that trauma that I mentioned earlier. That like Vince has this line in the docuseries where he says like he doesn't believe that abuse and things like that cause one to abuse others or whatever, but the irony is not lost on me. It's apparently lost on Vince when it comes to that, because this is someone who's been accused of sexual abuse, like physical abuse, has in interviews knocked papers out of people's hands because he's frustrated when he's attacked. Or
I remember that Bob Costas interview.
Yeah,
I do.
or
I remember watching that.
Or even that story that Paul Heyman, that insane story he told about Vince, where he said, where Vince and Shane were having a creative disagreement at a meeting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Vince takes a knife, hands it to Vince or Shane. He hands the knife to Shane and he says, right here. Right here. If you want to make that decision, you're going to have to put that knife right here. And if you don't, then I'll know that you are not willing to do what it takes in order to really take this over. Or you can buy me out like I bought out my old man.
And he knew he couldn't do that.
Either that, and it goes on, either that or you do what it takes, just like I would have done what it takes if my old man wasn't giving me my way. So Paul Heyman, according to this story, according to Paul Heyman's story, again, Paul Heyman, Mr. Wrestling Storytelling, essentially said, like, Vince said, Shane, you can either kill me or buy me out, but this story is not happening while I'm in charge. And that was like one of the, it seems, final straws in this, you know, dynamic between Shane and Vince, because eventually Shane would go on to leave in 2010.
Yeah, I mean, Shane even at one point, I'm sure you saw the documentary as well, you know, like at one point he actually wanted to get his own promotion.
UFC.
And yeah, he wanted UFC. Yeah. And now, see, the thing is, I knew UFC. I knew this tidbit. I heard this earlier on years ago that UFC was selling. They were interested to sell. And Shane spoken in front of his dad. Is like, hey, you know, what do you think about this? And Vince bit. Vince was like, oh, that's not bad. Not a bad idea. But whose money you putting in it?
Yo, he's such a dick for that.
Whose money you putting in it? Because it's not mine.
That's like if you got a kid. That's literally like if you got a kid. It's like, Dad, I'm gonna get Dad. Like I want the I want the Xbox like Series S. Right. Oh, that's great. You want that? Yeah. Yo, how you getting it?
I mean, I tell a similar story about my grandfather and my dad. Like when I was a kid, they good grades was a big thing, and I was proud of myself because I got all C's one time, and my granddad was like, "Oh, that's good," but they're not B's. It just walks off.
That's crazy.
like I mean, but that's kind of what that was like. Like, oh, you like that? I don't care. But no, it's just one of those things. Like you see the abuse that Shane and even Stephanie endured, even his wife endured, because this man was a hurt man. Now, before I say any more, I don't excuse him. It's just because you were hurt does not mean you hurt others. That's not how it goes.
Yep.
But me and Omar talk excessively, in nauseam about men's mental health. We talk about this all the time. If he isn't an example of what men's mental health can do to a person, I don't know what is. And I'm not trying to be,
I think it's a great point.
But yeah, it's true though. Like this man was abused as a child. He was abused by his father. His father never told him he loved him until the day he died.
Allegedly.
Something else. Allegedly. Okay. Now, because I've heard
that's a little bit of Vince. Again, I am no psychiatrist, but I also could see that being a little bit of Vince, like telling himself that and believing it over the years.
Actually, I've heard a couple stories where Vince Senior actually did.
Tony Atlas in this docuseries, I thought in the early episodes especially, was very insightful about like kind of wrestlers and the locker room point of view of these things. He was like, "Oh yeah, no, Vince Senior hated him." But I do think like the mental health point you're making is very I think apt, because if you don't take care of it and if you don't like address like issues, like whatever we think about Vince McMahon, we think a lot. That is someone who went through a horrible ordeal when he was younger. There's no doubt about it, right? And had he had had he taken care of some of those things, and had he sought help, I think there's the potential that some of the cyclical aspects of abuse, hopefully at least, would have not happened.
I mean, you don't know. I mean, because that was a different time too.
Yeah.
Like men weren't allowed to do certain things to help themselves, and everybody wasn't going to diagnose you with mental health at that point, especially if you were a man. Like mental health was something that didn't really exist in most families. But if he was allowed to, things might have turned out different. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's what if. It's a what if. It's a big what if. But that doesn't excuse the piece of shit he grew into. But it does. It might explain it though.
The silver lining, that I kind of took away from it was like, look at the way like Shane talks about his kids compared to like the way Vince talks about his, and I think like, like that whole generational like trauma or whatever that I was talking about earlier. Right. I think like Shane has definitely done his part and then some to break that and make sure that hopefully his kids don't go through that. And I think same with Stephanie and Paul Levesque.
That's one thing that I didn't remember hearing much about. Did they talk about their kids?
There was Shane did, and it was like
Shane talked about his, but I didn't think Stephanie talked about
Stephanie didn't, but like I mean, like we kind of like have a little bit of insight. Like Triple H left the PLE, because he had to go help his daughter go move into college, like I mean, things like that, and like the way that Stephanie kind of talks about her kids, like it's not like the way Vince was talking about his kids. He was very hard on them, very hard on them.
Absolutely. It's more, but it was kind of like a disappointment in certain things, like he never really
Shane. He did not like Shane.
Everything was Shane. Everything was Shane. Like he never really said he was proud of Shane. Like he did, but he didn't at the same time.
The crazy thing is, Shane didn't get that until Mania 32 after jumping off a Hell in a Cell.
I'm proud of that boy.
That's crazy. That's insane. Obviously, like many other things were touched on this, and we don't have to do a full recap of the docuseries, but like I mean,
no, but I know there's a couple things that you wanted to.
The Owen Hart piece was something like it was. Look, I think we all kind of know what the defense was going to be. That didn't surprise me.
Oh, of course.
Of like continuing the show, even though Owen had just literally died in the ring, and they knew that he had basically died in the ring, and the blood was still there, and all that stuff. Regardless of that, what kind of surprised me, and in hindsight probably shouldn't have, but did when I watched it, was how quick Vince was to say, well, had it been Shane, the show would have gone on. Had it been, me, the show would have gone on, and he had no regrets about it. That's what surprised me. I was like, oh, what? Like, damn.
But he said it real quick too, because I forget who said it before. Was it Tony that said it, or someone said, like, think about if it was his kid. That was whatever.
So that was Brett in an old interview.
Yeah.
He had said, if it was Shane splattered all over the mat, that's a quote from Brett. I don't think it goes the same way. And Vince was like, yes, it would have.
And that's kind of what shocked me. Like, I mean, it shocked me a little bit, and then like for me, and I've said it before, like watching that documentary, even when I watched the Dark Side of the Ring, I remember like sitting there ready to watch one of my favorite wrestlers for pay-per-view. Now he claims the arena was dark. It was not that dark.
If you're in the arena, even if it's dark, you can see what's going on.
You can still see it. And that's what I was saying. Like, I mean, remember seeing it bright lights. I mean, of course, I was I was watching it from home, but I remember everyone in the audience. They panned the audience. You could see faces. People saw this happen. His defense was it was dark. No one really saw it, and the show must go. I mean, I get it. These people bought tickets, but half of those people came to see Owen Hart, and half those people left after the fact. How do you perform as a performer? How do you expect to have good spirits, more morale, and even do what you're supposed to do when you see your best friend's blood or coworker's blood on the ring?
Jeff Jarrett and Deborah Jeff Jarrett and Deborah literally saw Owens at that point lifeless body be carried off backstage, and were then rushed to do a promo where Jeff Jarrett, in the same sentence, says, "Owen Hart, I'm praying for you, buddy." Deborah and her puppies goes on with the promo. And
Deborah couldn't speak. Deborah was inconsolable. She could not speak at all.
In any other work setting, though, Trevor, it's like something like that. Like, think about the NFL. The NFL, literally the biggest sports juggernaut in the entire country. Billions upon billions of dollars every year. They stopped a prime time ESPN. They stopped it. Didn't play it after DeMar Hamlin died on the field, and was obviously then resuscitated, but died on the field.
He did. And they stopped the game. They stopped the game. We're talking about NFL, one of the biggest sports in the nation, juggernauts in the nation, like billions of dollar corporation. And they stopped a Monday night game. They stopped. Like, why can't you stop a pay-per-view? Like, why do you expect people to perform with their friends' blood on the... Jerry Lawler literally, like, me and my brother watched it, and we remember it verbatim, like it was yesterday. Jerry Lawler comes back. He sits in front of the camera. You see his face. He is he's shook. Most, I don't know if many people know this, family friend of the Hearts, good friend of all of the Hearts. He comes back and he sees his friend dead in the ring. He pretty much said, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Later, it comes out, he said, he goes into JR's ear and says, he's dead. Owen's dead.
Yeah.
And, like, how do you expect that? That's not... I mean, I get it, business is business, and there's a lot of things as a manager and whatever I've done in a business that I hope I never have to do again. But it was never involving someone splattered, as Brett said, all over a ring or a floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think, I mean, we all agree, like, Vince, or also, I mean, like, I'm of the opinion too, that should never have been Vince's call to make.
Nope.
Like, look, this is not me, like, even spreading conspiracies. This is just, like, the truth, right? Owen Hart was not pushed. No, like, it was not an intentional thing. Like, that is certainly not the case. However, you had people in the building that night who alleged that night that they saw a push. Whether or not, and obviously it's untrue, whether or not it's true, if someone says that, and that incident happens that night without the facts being known about the situation, the cops should have shut that show down. That should have been a investigation. That should have been a crime scene, or at least like part of the investigation. The show should have been stopped. No one should have been at ringside. No one should have been able to contaminate or whatever that part, right?
Yeah.
And I think Vince should have known better, but the police and like, whoever was in charge of making that decision too also deserves a lot of the blame, because it never should have been his decision to begin with. That show should have been shut down.
Because regardless of what happened, with a situation like that, when the EMT is rushed in, the cops come shortly behind. I was an EMT for a little while. Cops come shortly for an incident, something like that. Cops come shortly behind. The cops then deem whether it's a crime scene or not, and deem the scene safe for even the EMTs to come through. So that's what should have happened. So you're absolutely right. The cops should have done the investigation and seen what the scene was and deemed it like, shut this down. We need an investigation, or vice versa. The owner of the establishment, the owner of the what's going on, of the event going on, should never have had that power. Never. Because legally, they could have ate him up, which is why they got which is why she got money from the settlement in the first place. But because of that, that puts him liable.
Yeah. Obviously, like so much happened in this docuseries. I think there's like we could literally talk about this for hours if we wanted to.
Oh yeah, we could.
But
there was one other one that I wanted to talk about, and we can go on to something
go for it.
More uplifting. But the Ring Boy scandal.
Let's talk about that separately.
Yeah,
let's talk about that separately because that requires a little bit more nuance to get into. But
yeah, you're right. You can't just go into that. You have to a little build up.
Yeah, it's a bit heavy. But Vince McMahon docuseries is out.
Check it out. It's worth watching. It's done very well. You want
to know an interesting story? Sorry, so the producer. So the director of the docuseries was the same guy who worked on Tiger King. So he had no background in wrestling. He doesn't really know wrestling. He doesn't know anything about Vince. Trevor, they would they would begin, or so they would have a schedule, right, where it's like, okay, at 3 p.m. they're gonna have like an hour or two or whatever to record with Vince.
Mm.
And then like what would happen is they would set up as a professional, like Netflix produced docuseries, like professional crew that's been there, done that, right?
Right.
They would sit there for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Vince's secretary would come in and say, "Oh, he's been delayed. He's been delayed. Doing God knows what. We don't know.
Right.
We don't know. Delayed. Vince would walk in with like an entourage at like 11 p.m., Trevor.
What the fuck?
For these recordings.
I'm sorry.
Yep, for these recordings. And by the time, they do makeup, he gets into like his suit because like the way it kind of works is, how like Vince is, or everyone's kind of wearing the same thing in like every single interview they do is because like they have one outfit picked out and they always change into that right before the shoot.
Gotcha. That's what I thought. Okay.
So, but yeah, so Vince changes the news, but it's like midnight even after that, by the time like they get ready to actually like sit down and shoot with him. So it's like they're just going into the night. They've been there for like 12 hours trying to get Vince, and the same thing would happen the next time they would try. And
I'm surprised he didn't pull the plug, because they actually did say they pulled the plug on it one time before anyway. And I'm actually surprised they didn't just scrap it all together.
Well, no, I mean they couldn't. They had already signed away the rights were signed away. It was already done. Netflix was like, we're getting this out. Vince tried to buy it, though. He did try to buy it.
He definitely did, yeah. I know that.
He had the money to, but Netflix apparently said no.
Vince is an ass. I swear he is.
It's a perfect way to end it. Guys, we got a bunch of people in the chat. We got Taco Kid. Yeah, I'm going to be at WrestleDream this weekend. Let me know how I can. Oh, yes, hit me up on X. At Real Mercu. Send me up on X. We'll figure it out. Biggest cap was him saying he didn't know if Andre was going to put the cover on him. Bro, he's talking about Hogan. He's talking about Hogan's story. God. Oh, boot. Slam. Trevor, let me know, bro. Come on. Let me know what you think. What you really think. You think Andre was really out here like, I don't know if I'm going to let him win.
Dude, I don't think Andre did half the things. I don't think half the people that Hogan wrestled did half the things Hogan says. Yeah. Sorry, that was my dog. But because if he did, dude, like there'd be some crazy stories of, dude, like the whole thing about like Roddy Piper not doing business, that one killed me. Like he said that in places out, oh, Roddy never wanted to do business. Roddy never wanted to go over, so I would have to. Dude, you didn't sell anybody you wrestled. No one. He barely sold The Rock.
Ultimate Warrior WrestleMania 6. 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, but like, see, if the ref had been a little bit slower in that count, I would have kicked out.
Yeah, that's the ref's fault. That's the ref's fault. I wasn't supposed to lose that belt. Like, dude, like Hogan is the biggest cap artist ever.
You gotta protect the gimmick, brother.
That's a little too much there, boy.
CC said the doc just solidified the disgusting behavior that Vince created, not only on the screen but off it too, to those poor people. Yep.
Yep.
Vince should have changed the narrative when it came to his kids. Thank God his kids changed the narrative when it comes to like how you treat your kids in that respect.
Absolutely. Oh, and that one thing I want to add that made me cringe to my stomach, sick to my stomach. I don't believe in CTE.
You talk about your concussion, your CTE, Austin CTE. I just yo. Oh, I was like Stone Cold. What are you
I
doing?
was like, so I liked you so much more before this documentary.
It's like I wonder. Oh man, like I wonder. I wonder why you don't believe in CTE. I'm not a CTE guy. Never believed
I'm
it.
not a CTE guy. I don't believe in it.
This was like a big tell, cause like so this is like him like scratching his ear. It's like a weird thing. Like if people do it whenever like they feel uncomfortable. It's like a psychological thing. They like whenever they feel uncomfortable, they like hold their ear, or like you'll see people like do something like this, cause it's like a weird comforting thing. Stone Cold was like all about doing this right after he said that.
Yeah.
Well, we got Liam talking about Oldberg in the chat. It's a great way to transition to WWE Bad Blood, Trevor. What did you think of the show?
Yes. It's okay.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Absolutely.
All right. Well, you know what? I will say this. I was in Atlanta, made the trip down for 24 hours to see the show. I'm still tired and still.
Oh, you went to actually go see the show?
It was, bro. Those tickets on Frontier Airlines were way too good to pass. So it was like $70 round trip.
Oh, why not?
Shout out to Frontier. I mean, I was scared that plane was not gonna make it to Atlanta. I ain't gonna lie to you, because the turbulence was crazy. I was like, okay.
Yeah, turbulence,
bro. Nah. That Frontier, that was like Spirit levels of turbulence. I was like, ooh, we're not flying this airline again. That's crazy.
Spirit.
Yeah, but I was like, you know what? That's fine. I mean, here's the thing. I did not know whether or not I was going to go to the show until like literally 30 minutes before it started. Cuz
oh wow.
Cuz here's what happened, right? So tickets for this show were insanely expensive. Like way too expensive. It was Trevor, to sit in the lower bowl, it was like $500 for the cheapest seat. In the lower bowl. In the lower bowl.
WWE tickets are getting absolutely ridiculous, dude.
Just to get in, it was like $300. Like if you want to sit up on the tippy top in the nosebleeds. But as I always do, I waited patiently. I was like, yo, it was like 4:30. I was like, yeah, boy, might not be going to. I'll be in Atlanta, but I ain't going to this show.
Right.
And then the thing is, the scalpers eventually you gotta wait, and it might be literally right before the show starts. But if you wait long enough, those scalpers will get desperate, and you will be able to get like good seats for a very good price. I ended up getting my tickets. I'll tell you off air how much I got them from, but I ended up getting mine for a really good deal. There was no one sitting around me. I was sitting behind the entrance, and the cool thing is WWE now they use that like little entrance, so it's like not covered up. I was like, this is like good seats. There's no one around me. Like, this is lit. But yeah. So, good time there. Had a good old time. But Trevor, let's talk about this. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, Hell in a Cell. I'm not gonna lie to you, my guy. I think they brought back Hell in a Cell with this match.
I thought that was a great match. I thought it was a good match. It was better than I thought it was going to be. It was not disappointing. It was a good match. That was a great way to bring it back. A great way to resurrect it, in so to speak. They did a good job. Both competitors did a very good job.
Yeah, and I think, like, if you ask me, this might be WWE's best match of the year. Like, genuinely, in my view, at least.
Yeah.
I think it
They had
had.
the entertainment factor was very high. The even the wrestling was
Oh my
good for
god,
them.
they were insane. Punk took a body slam off the top rope through a table on the outside.
Right, it was crazy,
I was like,
crazy.
I was like, oh my god, please don't die.
I was like, he's gonna get injured again. That's exactly what I said. I wasn't trying to be funny. I was like, he's gonna get injured
No,
again.
you and Kenny
No.
Baum are really on that CM Punk injury train. But shout out to Kenny. But it was crazy. Like I thought from a storytelling standpoint, this was like a near perfect match. This was everything that you want Hell in a Cell to be, the culmination of a blood feud. Something that can't be contained in a regular match, that can't be contained in any other format. It has to be Hell in a Cell. And after years of them, it's bastardizing Hell in a Cell, making it like, it's Hell in a Cell, it's gonna be hell, it's gonna be red. Like, after like literally like bastardizing Hell in a Cell, I thought what Triple H was able to put together, what Drew McIntyre and Punk did in that ring was special. Like, it was genuinely special.
Absolutely.
I mean, like the bumps were crazy. Drew took a bump after Punk reversed a Claymore. Drew took a bump back first, right into the corner steel steps.
Dude, it was, oh my god. I couldn't phantom either one of them actually walking out of that ring.
I mean, they barely did. Punk barely did. Blood, we saw the return of Blood, and I think this is a precedent WWE setting. They said in the Triple H era, for these big feuds, expect blood. And I think that's a welcome return for that, because that's definitely been something that's been missing. That extra factor of, like say what you want. In wrestling, blood adds that extra factor of this just got serious.
Right. And it wasn't one of those uses of it. It was well placed, it was well timed, it was used the right way.
After for sure. After all that though, Punk wrapping the steel chain around his knee hits the GTS on a prone Drew McIntyre. I will say, I loved everything about this match. Had a great time. Super into it. The two big drawbacks, one of which was the match's fault, one of which was not. Number one, the bracelets. I'm just going to say it. If you tease a bag spot, where you're like, oh, if it's Hell in a Cell, I'm going to bring out this bag full of who knows what thumbtacks, whatever. If Drew McIntyre had brought out a bag and there had been real glass in there, I would have been like, no, this is the match of the year. Forget everyone. Swerve. I don't care what. This because the level of trolling that would have fit exactly with Drew McIntyre's character, because it'd be like, real glass, cry me a river, Punk. That would have been hilarious. Obviously though, that did not happen. It ended up being the friendship beads, the friendship bracelets. What do you think of that?
Whatever.
I did not like it.
No, I know. I kind of, something told me it was gonna be something corny like that. But I mean, the beads can hurt, but not like glass or
bull, bro. Like this blood feud, and Drew's like, yeah, the bead. I'm like, we're still talking about this damn bracelet. We're not talking about the fact that CM Punk cost Drew McIntyre the WWE Championship 3 times. We're not talking about the fact that Drew McIntyre took CM Punk's return to WWE away from him. We're not talking about any of that. We're not talking about the stuff that matters. We're talking about
the bracelet. And that's the problem I had with it. That's the problem I had with the whole feud. Like, yes, was it entertaining? Yes. Was it fun at certain parts? Yes. But it's over a bracelet that had your wife and your dog on it. Not like
shout out to Larry.
Jesus.
Shout out to Larry. Other than that, though, I thought it was a perfect match. I think they reestablished what it means to be a Hell in a Cell match. They were able to tell a blood feud and tell it in a way that was befitting the feud. And I think both men are better off for it ending this way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad it ended the way it did. It was way worth it. Way worth to watch. The match, like I said, the match was good.
Yep. Someone was like, "Oh, you think Punk's gonna climb that cage?" I'm like, his old ass said, "Ain't no way he's climbing that cage."
Ain't no way that.
Ain't no way. Oh man, we got Kevin in chat. It's like a bag of thumbtacks or Legos. Both Punk and Drew wore crimson masks. Called back by Drew. Real glass climbing a river. That would have been great. That would have been great.
Yeah, yep.
Am I the only one who wanted Seth to come out and beat up Punk after a match? Yes. You were the only one. Truth's face is red in my hat, says Liam. Oh, man. Trevor, what did you think about the next match on this list? What did you think about Damian Priest, Finn Balor? Did you care?
Didn't care, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad.
Was it a pay-per-view match, though? Was it a pay-per-view match?
It wasn't a bad match, but exactly. It wasn't a pay-per-view worthy match. At this point, who cares about that? Like, this whole feud has been done terribly wrong with them. Honestly, you would find more people caring if it actually meant something, or even if it was done differently. But no, I could definitely not care about this match.
I think it's a problem that we have with a lot of WWE PLEs, and a problem we're going to face, which is like you have these 5-match PLEs, and every match should be a banger, but the way WWE does it is they structure like even Triple H's booking, right? How many times have we seen, Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley on the same card? How many recently? How many times have we seen some variation of Finn Balor and Damian Priest? I mean, Bayley and Nia Jax. It feels like we're getting just extension after extension after extension after extension on all of these feuds, and it's part of the problem with the Triple H booking. And I think I like Triple H compared to Vince McMahon as a booker. It like night and day. I'm willing to accept all of that, and that is fine. But you can't just settle on being better than Vince McMahon, literally coming off of some of the worst major wrestling booking we've ever seen in history.
You gotta be better in general. You can't just be better than him. You have to strive for the top.
Like, if you ask me right now, Triple H is getting lapped when it comes to wrestling booking on a major North American show. Like, he's getting lapped within his own company.
I'm going to say, even Shawn Michaels' booking is way better.
There is a legitimate argument to be made, whether or not I think it's accurate or whatever, but there is a legitimate argument that I think is valid to be made that Shawn Michaels is the best booker in North American pro wrestling.
It's a legit argument. It is. Whether you agree with it, whether I agree with it, it's a legit argument. Like, he's look at NXT. Look at NXT and look at their lineup for just tonight. It is leaps and bounds better than Raw's lineup last night.
Yep. The show matters. Like, that's the thing. Raw doesn't really matter. Like, even they just recently switched back to 2 hours Raw, right? And they did exactly what they were doing when Raw was like 2 hours back in the day with the women's division. They just put all the women in one match. I got 12 women's 12. It was like Divas era, like 12 Divas tag matches, like 12 women's tag match. And I'm sitting here like, and there was nothing else. There was nothing else driving women's storylines on the show. And I'm like, Shawn Michaels has somehow cracked the code, quote unquote. And I'm saying that sarcastically, right? Of like booking women's wrestling and having multiple women's storylines develop on his 2 hour show. So I'm like, you're telling me it's not possible on Raw, but it's possible on NXT? Come on now.
NXT might have the best women's division in North America right now.
I agree. I think so.
It is interesting to even say when you look at the amount of talent on like AEW's women's division or, Raw, whatever. But like we all have agreed and said that Tony Khan doesn't do a great job with booking women's wrestling. But he is getting better. He has gotten better.
A lot better.
A whole lot better. But with that being said, Shawn Michaels is quite possibly has the best women's division on TV in NXT.
Yeah.
It matters. It makes sense. The matches aren't just stupid. The matches make sense.
And the biggest problem with Triple H is I think like he's kind of relying on the idea of like long-term storytelling to get him by, right? And like, look,
which is fine.
Long-term storytelling is great. We love long-term storytelling. But you also have to make what happens like in between the long-term storytelling matter and develop your characters. Take, for example, right now, what I view as like the best story this year in wrestling. That being Hangman and Swerve.
Yeah.
Hangman and Swerve, Trevor, were not wrestling for the entire year. They were not like, it was not like pay-per-view match after pay-per-view match after pay-per-view match like 3-4 times in a row this year. They took a break. At Revolution, they had the triple threat match, and we slowly saw an evolution of Hangman's character. It wasn't just Hangman, being like, oh man, like I need to beat Swerve. It was Hangman Page turned from someone who was like beloved babyface, the guy who the fans wanted to win and all that kind of stuff, to someone who viewed the fans as turning on him. In his eyes, he was like the good guy, and there was so much nuance, that storyline and that character. And you compare that to like Cody Rhodes and what Triple H has done with Cody Rhodes. Cody is the same guy he was the day he walked into that company, and that is not an indictment on Cody, the human or even the wrestler. It is an indictment on the character that Triple H has made him into, or has not really made him into, because there's been no development. No one can tell me how Cody is different outside of holding that belt, which I get is important, but outside of holding that belt as a character, as a human in this story, how is he different? How has he evolved? How has he gotten, better? What's his motivation? We don't know.
I mean, the truth of the matter is, like you said, and let's just call a spade a spade.
Call it.
No one in WWE or WWF, whatever you want to call it, has ever booked a Rhodes worth a damn. And that's the truth. Get mad.
Common man.
Get mad. Say what you want. You take Dusty Rhodes, one of the biggest talents in NWA, one of the biggest talents in the southern area of the wrestling globe, and he's a champion holder. He's had bouts with Ric Flair. He's had bouts with like legends, Harley Race, guys like all these guys. Hell, my brother went to what was it, Starcade? That was in the in DC, the DC Armory, and they tore it down. And Dusty was the main attraction. And you literally say on national TV you couldn't market Dusty Rhodes. You say that. You come out your mouth and say you couldn't market Dusty Rhodes.
It's a lie. I mean, it's that whole idea that Vince had of only big, strong bodybuilders can work in North America, which is a lie.
And the same thing with Dusty. The natural Dustin Rhodes tore up Texas wrestling, tore up WCW. And you take him WWE, you slap paint on his face and make people question whether he's gay or not. Like, come on. Come on, dude. Like, and then you take Cody and do the same thing. Like, you take a talented wrestler that has set records, has sold out places, has done numbers, like everywhere else he's been. Then you get a second chance with him, you bring him back, you put a belt on him, he's still nothing.
Outside of the 3 months leading up to, or even the 2 months leading up to Mania, because like that first month was dog shit. But
they don't market Rhodes well. They
market him well. They just don't They just don't tell stories.
They don't write well.
Let's just say
it.
Yeah. He tagged with Roman Reigns. I still don't know why. I'm in storyline, if I'm Kevin Owens, dude, I'm siding with Kevin Owens who beat down Cody Rhodes, because I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? like they have cost all your friends, whether it be Sami Zayn, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens. There's anyone who has a gripe with the bloodline, it's that man. 3 times he's been screwed out of the world title because of the bloodline. Sami Zayn's been screwed out of it. Randy Orton. 3 people who allegedly are friends of Cody Rhodes. And just like that, without any explanation outside of the respect of this business is what integrity is all about. It's word salad. His promos are meaningless right now. Triple H is doing a horrid, stinky, smelly job booking Cody Rhodes right now.
Cody should not be. Cody wasn't happy before. He definitely shouldn't be happy now. Because, like you said, their writing for him sucks. The booking of his matches are terrible. Like they're making him look like this. First off, with the name being the American Nightmare, you're too cootsy wootsy anyway. Like to be American Nightmare, you should be out there dropping buku elbows, smacking motherfuckers with chairs. Like, come on, like, come on, like I'm an American Nightmare. Get the hell out of my face. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they just don't do him well. They don't write him well. They don't book him well. Like
Triple H, fix it, man. It's your job.
I mean, hey, let Sean do it. Sean can do it.
Shout out to Shawn Michaels. Him and his bro.
Sean made Trick Williams a star.
Someone asked Sean in the I think it was like not a media call, but like an interview, like what his like search page looks like on Instagram. I promise you that thing is crazy.
Oh, you know it is.
He's scouting, bro. He's scouting.
Sean does the crazy amount of stuff. Like, I still think one of the biggest pickups in wrestling in general was Ethan Page. I think that was
a fantastic
best pickups. And apparently, it's alleged, but it's a rumor that Jordan Grace is about to be on NXT soon too.
Oh, she's definitely. I think there's a good chance you see her in NXT at some point.
Like, dude, like the work Sean is doing with TNA, chef kiss.
Triple H's booking always so long and it's annoying. Yeah.
Yeah.
On a 2-hour show and pay-per-views, he manages to get women's division booked well. Mid-card, the tag division, seeing all. Yeah. Shawn Michaels does. He's booked that stuff well. Kevin says, hour 1, Raw is War. Hour 2, Warzone. Shawn Michaels memes equal. He doesn't get computers, high-tech stuff too well. I don't know what that means, but shout out to you, bro. Long-term equals Bloodline. Yeah. It's just too much long-term stuff, man.
Yeah. And actually, you can do a Bloodline Civil War or whatever, which will work well, but you got to do that right, too. That's got to be written well as well. You know what I mean? Like.
Yep. Triple H doesn't know what to do with Cody in between Mania. If you look at the last year, he had a random Brock feud and was just doing side quests. Yeah, I agree. This is like something I've said like multiple times. Like,
yeah, you said it on
meaningless storylines that didn't drive the plot, that didn't drive him forward, that just were like, I am the American Nightmare, and I will fulfill the dreams of my father and his father before him, and I will manifest the destiny. I'm just like, bro, you are like a milquetoast Ultimate Warrior with these promos. You're just saying nothing.
You're saying absolutely nothing at this point. Like, who is writing for you? One and two, like they dropped the ball. He could have wrestled Randy Orton. That would have been great. That would have been amazing. And like now, Kevin Owens beating him up after Bloodline. Who cares?
Bro, Who cares? Team KO. I'm Team KO. KO is the face. Cody is the heel.
I know. He needs to be. But see, I want heel Cody Rhodes. I want the Cody Rhodes. That's why
we all fell in love with Cody. Come on. That's why we all fell in love with Cody.
I want the heel. I want the guy that told the people that they can't kiss his ring. You can't touch me.
I
want the man that gave a woman $20 because
I still love. That's like my favorite bit in like of Cody ever. Him walking into TNA saying, "No, Brandy, you're not wrestling in TNA because the Rhodes name that cannot afford you wrestling in TNA. That's gonna bring that's gonna bring the Rhodes name down. So here you go. Goes to the opponent. Here's $20. It's about double what they were going to pay you anyway. Bye-bye." I was like, yo.
That's what I want, dog. Like, that's exactly what I want. Like, Cody in the Indies was a menace.
I need Menace. Bro, bring back Menace, Cody. I want that.
It was putting on some of the best matches, too. Like, putting out some of the best wrestling product that you've seen. I want that Cody Rhodes. This Cody Rhodes, I don't like it.
You got Angeles. Ethan Page was a great grab. He was underutilized in AEW. Absolutely. And look, it wasn't working, and he left, and that's the best part. Best part about having like multiple major wrestling companies. If it's not working in one place, there's more opportunities elsewhere, and vice versa.
Else, so it will work. I mean, that was a great grab. Like, it made sense.
I still stick to my statement in saying Cody is and always will be a mid-carder. No, he's a main eventer. He just needs like.
No, he's not a mid-carder at all. No. Cody Rhodes early on in his career, yes, I totally agree with you. He's not a mid-carder. No. He is just being written like a mid-carder. He's being written like a no-talent person. And he has all the talent in the world.
Oh, man. Well, I guess now we got to talk about Goldberg because Liam keeps bringing him up. Let's talk about it. Trevor, we could be getting bad news for me because Gunther versus Goldberg has been rumored and speculated. Triple H even took to Twitter to say, you never say never in the game when it comes to Goldberg potentially stepping back in the ring. He said that Goldberg seemed to have a fire about him after a face-off with Gunther at Bad Blood. Do you want to see Goldberg step back in the ring against the WWE World Heavyweight Champion?
I want to see Goldberg near a ring. Like, dude, how many people has he almost hurt?
It's not almost.
Like, yeah, he actually has hurt a few.
Yep.
Especially let Bret Hart tell it. But dude, like he almost he did drop Undertaker on his head. Like I think what's his name? Namath. I think he was concussed.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Like it was fun. The novelty of it was fun at first. It's worn off. Anytime you have Goldberg take a title off, like was it Bray Wyatt?
It was Bray Wyatt. It was Kevin Owens. Bray Wyatt and Kevin Owens. He took the world title off of them.
You took the world title off the hottest wrestler at the time. The hottest wrestler at the time. You took the title off Bray Wyatt. Like, I don't know what Vince was thinking that. I mean, who knows what Vince was ever thinking? But
I kind of know what he was thinking. He was like, look at that man. That's Goldberg and a Saudi Mania. They're gonna have so much money.
Oh, speaking of Saudi Mania,
how about hey, stick to Goldberg. All right, let's cook him a little bit more because I want to get your thoughts, man. Like, what would your reaction be first of all if Gunther ended up losing the title to Goldberg? Would that be enough to make you stop watching WWE?
There's a few things that WWE could do, and that would be one of them. I have a sickening feeling that they're going to take the title off of LA Knight soon and give it to Carmelo Hayes.
Goldberg, I'm the champion of the United States.
No, I think they're going to take it off and give it to Carmelo Hayes, even though I like Carmelo Hayes. But anyway, but no, like, there's a few things they could do. That would definitely be one of them. If they took the title off of Gunther and gave it to Goldberg, dude, like
Goldberg. I would.
He looks like a headbanger when he does his turn. Like, what is he doing, dude? Like,
bro, let's be real. Yo, he had his day. That day passed, and then some. We are years beyond that day. Let the man come out, get his little pop in the crowd, get a little pop on Raw Legends night. Ain't nobody really trying to see that. It's cool because he's a big name. That's why he gets a pop. When that bell rings, it is going to be dog shit. Like next level dog shit.
Not even Gunther's wrestling ability to save that match.
I'm talking about Goldberg. Yeah, like he's first of all, he's always been a horrible wrestler, but that's you can do things. You can do things. A 5-minute like big thing, like what he did with Brock at Mania. I thought it was like at Mania 33, one of the best like bang 5-minute bouts I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Amazing, fantastic. That was the peak of his return.
Not even Gunther could save that match because here's the thing, he's going to be carrying the entire match, right? And he's also going to be have to worry about himself as well. Like he Yeah, that match is
Ain't
gonna
no
look
way
hard.
Gunther's getting up for that jackhand. If I'm Gunther, I'd be like, you know what? Get me up for this, bro. All by yourself. I ain't helping you.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Sandbagging that man. Nah, I'm not doing it, bro.
No,
What you mean? It's one thing to spear me with your weak ass spear, but like, you gonna pick me up? All right, little bro. Let's see.
I'm Gunther. No,
I'm good. Let's see, little bro. Let's see what's up. Come on.
yeah, man. Like it's like I. So certain wrestlers, I get it. Like, I mean, even though I wouldn't want to see this, but you say Undertaker's coming back. Okay, that's fun. That's fun. It's Undertaker, badass in the ring, great wrestler, great. Goldberg. No, no. I don't get excited when I hear Goldberg. I get nauseated when I hear Goldberg. I'm actually sick of hearing Goldberg at this point.
Hey man, when that Saudi money comes to talking, crown jewel for the WWE Championship: Cody Rhodes versus Goldberg.
I don't watch any of those things.
Neither do I.
People have to tell me what happens. I don't watch them,
Bro, I'll be watching I just like look on Twitter. I'm like, okay. That's why I don't even like rate those matches. I'm just like, okay, look. If people say it's a great match, it's a great match. Shout out to them. I'm not watching that. I don't need to see that propaganda show.
Saudi Hogan.
Yo, nah. The fact that they did that was wild.
That was really
that
funny.
was wild. They were like, "Got Saudi Hogan." Dun, 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 dun,
That was
dun.
absolutely hilarious. I don't think I've laughed harder in a long time.
I remember when I first brought out Saudi Hogan, you were going crazy, bro. Like
so funny.
the sounds you were making were crazy. You were like, "Oh, it's Saudi Hogan."
Oh man, it's so easy and fun to make fun of Hulk Hogan.
Oh man, shout out to Saudi Hogan with a green bandana.
That was so funny, dude.
Oh
so
man.
funny.
All right. Bad Blood though. I mean, The Rock came back. We do got to talk about this.
Yeah,
Rock made his return at Bad Blood. It looks like we're getting some sort of a bloodline civil war that could be involving The Rock. Trevor, do you think we see The Rock wrestle in bloodline civil war at War Games? You think we see him wrestle? And what do you think? Because this was a big question coming out of it. The show was, what do you think ends up being the main event of WrestleMania 41? Because it looked like The Rock was looking right at both Cody and Roman.
Yeah, he was.
What do we think with his little Make-A-Wish title, his little People's Championship? He looks so lame with that, bro. I'm sorry.
Oh my god. I mean, people still want Roman versus Rock. They still want Roman versus the final boss.
Yep.
Like, I think we all want to see that. I mean, honestly, we've seen Cody versus The Rock pretty much. I mean, it was a tag team match. We've seen it. We haven't seen in any capacity of Roman versus The Rock. So I would say that would be the match to make. That would be the most money making match, I think. But I'm just a lowly podcaster. I don't know anything. So, but I honestly think that would be more interesting than Cody versus The Rock, personally.
I'm just gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna do all you a favor. I'm gonna cook real quick.
Oh man,
this is not a prediction. This is a spoiler, as Paul Heyman would say. The main event of WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, Night 2, is going to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship.
And Roman wins it and becomes champion again.
I think Rock walks away with that belt at Mania. Because if you're not doing Cena versus Cody for the title at Mania, you're doing that triple threat. Because there's a lot of intrigue, Trevor. People want to see Rock and Roman. People want to see Cody and Rock. People want to maybe see a rematch between Roman and Cody. Well, let's just give him everything all at once.
Now, do you think there's a possibility for Cena and Cody?
There will be a match, 100%. Cena is retiring in 2025. There will be that match. It will just not happen at Mania. I don't think it will, and I don't think it will be for the title.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen at Mania either. But it needs to happen. I would love to see that match. But
yeah. But I mean, it's gonna be interesting. Do you think we see him though in War Games, like in the actual match?
I don't know. Like, how Rock is one of those guys that sporadically comes back and they save him for important things. I mean, it could be an important match they save him for. I mean, but I don't know. Maybe he needs like 1,000 months to recuperate. So maybe they save him for Mania.
I think I'm just saying, man. Like, I know you already sold those tickets, but The Rock coming out last in War Games, whooping that ass, and then leaving would be badass. I'm just saying, man.
It'd be great.
Oh man, I got like a fruit fly. It's just
I see you trying to.
I'm like a cat right now, bro. I'm trying to catch.
I see Mr. Miyagi in over there.
No, I caught like 2 of them. I don't know where they keep coming from. Shout out to bro. If y'all know how to get rid of fruit flies, y'all let us know in the comments.
I actually know a couple with different ways.
Well, we're gonna talk off camera because so I can learn. But no. Back to the thing. I think there's a lot of intrigue in that. I think it's a great way to make the Rock, look like a threat going into Mania season. Like, oh my God, neither Roman or Cody can beat him. Like, or like that. That's like a big thing. Like, how is Roman going to overcome the final boss? That's the story you tell going into Mania, and I think there's a lot of intrigue there.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it's definitely going to sell some tickets, and there's definitely a lot of people intrigued by whether Roman can actually beat him, whether Cody is going to even be interesting anymore at this point. But there's a lot of intrigue and a lot of questions that need to be answered.
We'll see what happens. I just can't wait for Raw to go to Netflix, and then we're gonna get the final boss. Those final boss promos are about to be wild. It's like, Cody Rhodes, you little bitch, I'm the fucking final boss. I can't wait.
Whoa, Rock, whoa.
No. Screw that. I'm the final boss, motherfucker. Like, it's gonna be crazy. William C. Regal, War Games. Oh, he can do that this year. He can come out and make that announcement.
Yeah.
Oh man, we got a bunch of people in the chat. Keep those chats coming, people. Trevor, let's switch gears. Talk about AEW. So we got a bunch of matches announced for AEW WrestleDream. Right now, there's 8. I'm sure we still have AEW Dynamite tonight, which is going to air in like about 40 minutes because it's Title Tuesday, Trevor.
Title Tuesday.
AEW going to be premiering tonight live from somewhere in Washington. I don't know where.
State.
Yakima. Shout out to Yakima. It's state, not DC. We'd be at that show if it was DC. Yakima. But obviously AEW WrestleDream, major show in honor of the late great Antonio Inoki. Trevor, it feels like, and I think like this is a criticism, like it feels like AEW, with All In, All Out, Grand Slam, WrestleDream, all happening within like 6 weeks of each other. It just feels like a lot. And I think that's like a big problem for them. Like they've tried to fit too many big pay-per-view level moments into one small period, which is great. And there's like a lot going on, but I feel like the stories over the last few weeks have not been, with Swerve and Hangman withstanding, right? The stories haven't been fleshed out, especially for this pay-per-view. I think you have some like Mox and Bryan, which I think are doing very well, but others you're just kind of like, man, what's really going on here? It's just kind of thrown together.
Yeah, kind of all over the place.
Because if I just quickly run through the card, like You have Mark Briscoe versus Chris Jericho kind of thrown together for the ROH title, which why is the ROH title being defended on an AEW pay-per-view again? You have Darby Allin versus Brody King, which, look, shout out to Brody King. Why? He just answered his open challenge. Jack Perry versus Katsuyori Shibata. Look, I'm always going to be a Shibata guy, but like, come on. Like, nothing built this up.
Nope.
And then, like, you have Mariah May versus Britt Baker or Willow, or it might end up being someone else now, or Jamie Hayter or Willow. Actually, that might cook. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
anyway, but like, come on, half this card right now is just like kind of throwing together stuff. Like, what are your thoughts on this? Has like all these shows kind of hurt AEW in their booking recently?
You know, I feel like it's kind of something we were talking about earlier, and I didn't actually say it. I was thinking it. I feel like a lot of these are like match fillers or just time fillers. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they are with good talent. You have good talent in these matches, but you're just throwing them together because you don't have anything else built up. And that's why storylines are important. That's why you need something to build this up to make it make sense. That's why storylines are important. Art form that the WWE is starting to learn. But no, like, the stories are important. Because honestly, Mark Briscoe and Jericho could be a good match, but who really cares? It's just thrown together. And again, why are they defending RL's belt on AEW? Who really cares about Darby Allin versus Brody King? I mean, if with proper marketing, proper storyline, that's a great match. It's gonna cook. But now, why do I care? You know, it's just one of those things. Like, and it could mess up the momentum that AEW has been building with these great pay-per-views and a lot of the great matches they've had. I mean, it could hurt them, but let's be honest. WWE's been doing it for years. How bad has it hurt them?
They're in their most profitable era. So is AEW. They just signed this new TV deal.
Yeah, I mean, so how much did it hurt WWE? And the only reason no one talks about it is because it's WWE. All the wonderful, wonderful WWE marks. So AEW does this and AEW does that. And why can't AEW do what WWE does? Because they're not as good. They are doing the same thing the WWE is. You just don't like it because you and WWE are good friends. I'm going to clean that up.
I could not agree with you more. Yes, at AEW, we tried our very best to create storylines that people want to see.
It's good to see you, my friend.
Don't you want to introduce me to the new fans?
Yes. For those who aren't aware, we have a very good friend of the show, Mr. Jacques Perry.
It's pronounced Jacques Perry.
I'm so sorry.
Monsieur Souton, comment ça va? How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I was wondering if I'd get a chance to talk to you today.
I would never miss OT Graps every single Tuesday night, 7 p.m. YouTube.com/Real Take Wrestling.
Thanks for this useless plug. Are you excited about WrestleDream?
I am very excited. I get to take my boost and run over Katsuyori Shibata.
It should be a good match, but getting your opinion, don't you agree it would have been better if it was marketed correctly or even written in better?
I am the scapegoat. What could be better than me?
You know what? You make a valid point. I'm sure it's going to be a solid match.
I agree. Everyone should go to watch AEW WrestleDream and sorry, I'm smoking my cigarette. Because I am French. Anyway, Gaston, I have to go. Goodbye.
Well, Jacques, if there's anything else you want to say to the people, he's gone.
Oh, did he leave?
He left. You never get a chance to see him.
I need to. We need to work. I
You
need to do
never
an
get a
entire
chance to see him.
podcast with Jacques Perry one day.
You know what? That would be
That would be
insane.
insane. Trevor, let's get in to the thing that I definitely want to talk about, and I know you do as well. This world title match. All right, look. First of all, we got to talk about the implications because I know I only have like 30 minutes left before I gotta head out. But let's talk about the implications here. So they're building up this storyline with Moxley and this group, largely of former WWE guys, where someone seems to be pulling the strings. Excalibur has noted it. Moxley has said this is not his doing. Trevor, there's a lot of rumor, speculation, innuendo that it's Shane McMahon. After watching AEW TV over the last couple of weeks, taking this in, do you think that, number one, do you think that it is Shane McMahon? And number two, do you think AEW, in case it's not Shane McMahon, do you think AEW is doing enough to tell people not to expect Shane?
No. I think everyone is expecting it to be Shane McMahon. There's no implications that it's not Shane McMahon. There's nothing to make you believe that it's not Shane McMahon. I believe everybody in their mama thinks it's Shane McMahon. If it's not, you missed a big cash grab. You missed a big cash grab if it's not Shane McMahon, because all this is, honestly, and it's done a little better. Well, it's done a little differently, I should say, not better. But all it is a more sophisticated NWO. If it actually is Shane McMahon. Because instead of bringing outsiders, you're using already developed talent to develop this group to ban against the machine, pretty much. The ban against the man. And to dethrone the king, so to speak, the authority, and make your own, entity. Which the concept is great. It might be a concept loss on modern day fans, but the concept is great. But if it's not Shane McMahon, you just ruined a great idea.
Yeah.
And that's just how I feel. But it could be someone else. If it's someone like the caliber of Shane or whatever, it could work. But I think it works better with Shane McMahon because he's a McMahon one, and this is kind of like, hey, take this, boss man, stick it in your craw, it's making WWE eat crow technically. So it's a good idea, but if it's not, it's got to be somebody big. If it's not Shane, it's got to be somebody big.
Yeah, I agree with everything. I think Tony is very careful when he's promoting a show and he's answering these questions. Right. He makes sure that whenever fans' expectations get too high for something, he makes sure to, in his own way, temper them down. He's always done this. He's always done this when fans kind of let their imagination run wild about something, and he's like, look, while I love promoting a show, I don't want the fans to go home disappointed or whatever. Right. He has done so much to not do that over the past couple of weeks, because he's been asked about Shane McMahon in nearly every interview he does.
Oh, yeah,
and he gets asked, is Shane coming? Point blank. And the way he answers it is, Shane McMahon's a great guy and we would love to do business with him one day. He does the Tony Khan where it's okay, you're not saying no, you're not tempering expectations even remotely. So if fans are expecting this,
with CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, he never denied that.
Never did. In fact, he did that little Tony Khan smile where he's like, oh yeah, you never know. I would love to have great talent here in AEW where the best wrestle. But I don't know, man. Like, here's the thing: if we get to this, and it's not like a big person, like not a Shane, not a Becky Lynch, or like,
Right.
I don't know, like who else would even fit that mold at this point? Like, but even Kevin Owens might, if Kevin Owens' contract runs out.
You said again.
So Kevin Owens might. His contract is supposed to run out next year, but man, like everyone's expecting Shane, and if you don't deliver it, I think you're gonna have a lot of unhappy and unsatisfied and underwhelmed people.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope, man. It really is because like at one hand, you definitely want people to tune in, right? You don't want to, you don't want to kill speculation because you want people to turn in because you want to see if this speculation is right. But you also don't want to not deny it either because you don't want them to expect something that's not happening. It's like the best example. What's your favorite food?
Lamb chops.
Lamb chops. Okay. Like you have a function and you ask the person, are you having lamb chops? I don't know. It'd be great to have some, but I don't know if they're gonna be made.
I'll slap that person in the face so quick.
It is not like they say no. They just whatever. You get there and they make you boiled potatoes. You're like, what the hell? You're like, I want these lamb chops.
Boiled
like
potatoes with raisins in them. I'll slap the hell out of them.
Right. Like it's one of those things. Like you're gonna mess up your fanship. In your viewership, you're gonna mess it up. I mean, you've fought hard to keep these fans that you have, but what's gonna happen is you're gonna make all those WWE fans right, and damn sure don't want to make them right about anything. So
yeah.
So hoping TK, I'm hoping.
I'm just sticking to my prediction. I think when Shane does show up, it will be not at WrestleDream, not at Full Gear, but AEW World's End. I think they want to start off the new TV contract.
I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah.
They want to start off the new year, the new TV contract, all that stuff, the season premiere of Dynamite in January with red hot stuff going on. I think that's when you do it. If you do
World's End would probably be the best way to do it. Like, I mean, you could do it at WrestleDream, but like, I feel like that's something you want to start off. Do not waste
this on. I'm going to WrestleDream, and I'm like,
you want to start off fresh.
Do not waste it on WrestleDream. Waste it on waste it on Full Gear.
Where's World's End? Where's that going to be this year?
Orlando.
Yeah. Around Christmas time?
Those flights are gonna be expensive, bro. Crispy. We're going to Disney World. You know how many kids are taking? You know how many parents are taking their kids to Disney World for Christmas?
I got family in Florida, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Oh man, we'll see. I mean, as Angelos Drebin says, let it cook and build.
Let it cook. Let it build.
Let them cook. Let's see what happens. Oh man, you know what, Trevor? We got one more thing to talk about, and I don't want to talk about it. I want to go out of my way not to talk about it because it makes me really sad.
What are we talking about?
I can't even do it, man. I can't do it, bro. I don't want to do it. Can we just end the show here? I don't want to do it, Trevor. I don't want to do it.
We can end it. We can definitely end the show if we want to.
I want to end the show. I can't bear talking about the greatest wrestler of all time retiring. They're killing me with this, man. I gave y'all 30. Nah, let me stop.
Oh, I know what another thing we can talk about it.
What's up?
What we talk about during, because we're going to talk about him anyway. How did you feel about that Nigel McGuinness match? I never got a chance to talk to you about that.
It was a great match. The ending kind of confused me.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. That's how I know my friends. Because I felt the same way. I was like,
thank you. Like I was like, what are we doing here? Are we running this back?
Because like it started off, I'll say this. It started off methodical, started off kind of slow. It picked up big time. It was definitely one of the better matches on that show. It was definitely one of the better matches in that series.
Mm-hmm.
The ending to me messed it up. Not completely,
Mm.
but it definitely kind of, like you said, confused me a little bit and messed up what from that point was a good match. I thought maybe he was hurt, honestly.
I thought it
That's
was a,
what I was thinking.
I thought it
I
was a
was
good
thinking,
match. I thought it was a really good match, strong match, best match on the show that night at Grand Slam. I just think like it's one of those things. Maybe we built it up in our minds to be something, and it just wasn't that.
right.
Like that was my biggest fear with I've told you this, right? Because my biggest fear with Omega and Bryan when they faced off at Grand Slam a couple of years ago, I was like, part of me was like scared, like, oh my god, what if it doesn't like hit like the way I've expected it to? In that match, I was like, that entire match, I'm like, yeah, like I
Yeah, that
was
match.
so,
That match was so,
bro, I don't care.
so
Look, I don't care what happens. When Kenny gets back, just run that match back. I need the
oh,
rematch. I need the
yeah,
rematch. I need.
hell. I would love to see Nigel and Kenny, to be honest with you, but that's just me.
Man, we can do that. Bro, give me Bryan and Kenny. I want to see that run back. I need to see a winner. You know what? That's what I need, Trevor. I need to see a winner between those two. That's what I want. But yeah, I thought it was good. I think they're probably gonna run it back though. That's my inkling.
They definitely should. They definitely should before Brian. Of course, before Brian gets up out of there, they definitely should run that back.
Speaking of which, the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, AEW World Champion and greatest professional wrestler of all time. Keep your Simon Gotchas, keep your Bachwinkles, keep your Omegas, keep your Stone Cold Steve Austins. I will take Bryan fucking Danielson every single day of the week, twice on Sundays, because watching him wrestling, I should say, is like church. Trevor, we got Bryan versus Moxley, AEW title on the line. If Bryan loses, he's retired from full-time action. He needs neck surgery. We know this. Mox has been out for him. Do I have any hope? Do I have any hope that Bryan will not lose this belt on Saturday, or are we cooked?
I don't think he's gonna lose. I don't think he's gonna lose.
I love the false hope. Give me the false hope. Let's go.
I don't think Bryan's gonna lose. Like, okay, where is it? Is it in Washington?
Yep.
It's in Washington. Okay. Many wrestlers have lost in home state. It happens, right? But this is the greatest professional wrestler in the world at the moment, right? He's one of the greatest wrestlers to ever lace up his boots, right?
Oh yeah, the agenda. The agenda's slipping in there. It's
why?
The propaganda is work.
Why? Oh, I'm still an Nigel McGuinness fan. Don't twist it. But why? Like, other than like you said, you're going to allude to the darker powers of being like Shane McMahon or someone coming in. What other reason would you let Daniel lose unless it's feeding into this whatever Moxley is alluding to? Now, and this is why I say Shane should probably show up if it's Shane. But if it's not, and I totally agree with you, you should wait till World's End. And it probably won't be. Why take the belt off Bryan now?
Listen, man, I want to believe everything you're saying so much.
I know, but it does make sense. I mean, it makes sense that they take it off now to build what they're trying to build. But
it sucks. Like you don't understand this, right? Bryan is like for those of you watching for the first time, this is Bryan Danielson is like one of the most like special characters, wrestlers, human beings in like wrestling to me. Like a personal impact he's had on my fandom is crazy. That's why I say like the one guy who like makes me think illogically about wrestling, like when I'm analyzing it, is Bryan, because I'm just like, Bryan wins low because he's the greatest. Like that's all I got. But I'm trying to take all that away. I do think that Bryan ended up losing this match. I think cementing Mox as a bona fide heel beating Bryan in basically what is like 20, 30 miles from his hometown in Tacoma, Washington.
And being the first multiple time,
Well, four time. He'd
like
be a four-time
four
AEW,
time, he'd be the first and only 4-time AEW champion.
four-time AEW champion, and retiring Bryan and having that on his resume. Hey yo, hey
Like,
yo.
I mean, you have an argument, and I've said this before that they're gearing Moxley up to be one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
He is
They
he is of this generation. Like
of this generation, he is like. I remember Mox like from the Indies. I remember Mox jumping off turnbuckles onto people on tables with light tubes surrounded by him. Like he was a deathmatch, graduate. Like I remember seeing Moxley. Like Moxley, everyone talks shit about Moxley. Everyone says Moxley's not a good wrestler. It's not this, not that. John Moxley, quite possibly, is like you said, one of the greatest wrestlers of his generation. And I don't care who says anything else about it. I don't care how much backlash I get from it. It's true. It's definitely true. Like, and that would be, and that's the only way I could see Brian losing because you have someone that Brian thinks. Because Brian has talked candidly and very highly of John Moxley, John Moxley's career and everything. I mean, they were in the Indies together, so he knows his career, and I think they're around the same age too, actually. But yeah, that's the only person I could see him letting retire him. That or a rematch with Swerve.
listen, man, I'm gonna be there live in the arena. And I warned the friend I'm actually gonna meet up there. I warned him. I said, "You are gonna see a different side of me in that when I'm in the Tacoma Dome during that match, because like I was honestly like a different person at Wembley. I was,
Right.
bro. Like usually I'm like very like I'm into it. I'm into the show, and I'm like like I cheering, but I'm like I'm composed. I don't like overdo it. I was
Right.
wild in that Wembley Stadium. I was out of control. I ain't gonna lie. I had the big Bryan Danielson flag. I had it tarped over like the entrance. I was going nuts. I was like, yeah, go. I was leading. I was trying to lead the chants. I was like on top of my. I was going crazy. Tacoma Dome, watch out, because if Bryan Danielson loses,
You're right. And you're gonna cry.
no, with tears,
Crocodile tears.
crocodile. No, this is gonna be like baby tears. I'm gonna be a baby. I'm gonna have to get cradled to by somebody. It's gonna be crazy. Like here's the thing. All seriousness, I am going to be the biggest mark in that building if Bryan loses, because I am legit gonna cry. It is going to be bad. I've already warned him. I was like, bro, like, look, I've told you that it's gonna happen. Like, I'm going to be in tears because, and like, look, part of it is like a joke, but like, a lot of it is serious. Like, I've been lucky enough, right, to be there for some of Bryan's biggest moments. His first world title victory in WWE at TLC, Baltimore. I was there. Him winning at Wembley Stadium in front of like 50,000 people. I got to say I was there. I'm going to be, the entire reason I'm going to Seattle is because in my heart of hearts, I know Bryan's probably going to lose. It's going to be the end of his full-time career. And I want to say that I was there. For me, that's going to be kind of like a full circle moment, because I'm going to be like, man, I will have like witnessed all of the wonderful, beautiful parts of his career, and the ending, he's obviously going to wrestle again, but it's going to be on a more limited basis. And it's going to be like sad, because it's like the chapter is closing, but it's like also closure for me as a fan in that respect. So yeah, I'm a mark. It is what it is.
I know exactly how you feel. Like, I mean, it was the same way for me for my favorite wrestlers. Like when Perfect left the ring, when like when Shawn left the ring. Like I mean, Shawn Michaels was one of the wrestlers that I saw growing up that got me into wrestling. Like, I mean, of course, like the Bruno Sammartinos. I saw the end of his career. I saw like guys like Ricky Drake Steamboat. So guys like Macho Man. You know, like I saw wrestlers like Mr. Perfect. Like Mr. Perfect, I took to so much because he was an absolute asshole. And I thought that was cool. I thought like him doing everything perfectly, I thought that was so cool. And
Perfect.
like yeah, right. Like it just, you know, when they stopped wrestling, man, like it broke my heart. It did. Like for a long time, I've told you many, many times. I don't know if I actually have a favorite wrestler. I have wrestlers that I love watching, like Nigel McGuinness. Nigel McGuinness was the closest thing to having a favorite wrestler I had for a long time, and he left as well. Ricky Starks. I love Ricky. I think Ricky's one of my favorites. And so along with Freshly, my man Freshly Squeeze. Obviously, you know, I like Orange. But I don't know if I have the same type of love I have for them that I had for like my wrestlers, because it's gonna sound silly. It's gonna sound really silly, but like a part of you feels like it leaves when you have attachment like that to something like that.
I agree.
So I totally agree with you. I 100% understand what you're going through, what you're going to go through when it happens. So
got people shouting out their favorite wrestlers: Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude.
Oh, Perfect was great. Rick Rude was awesome too.
Shout out to both of them.
Rick Rude was my boy. And Rick Rude was one of those that actually once he got the surgery and everything, when he actually came back as the security, he actually said he probably could have wrestled again, but he chose not to.
Bro has that Lloyd's of London insurance policy money coming his way. He's like, I don't need to take bumps.
I don't need to take these bumps no more.
Oh man, well,
Age of the Fall. I loved watching Age of the Fall with Seth Rollins and Zach. What's his name? Zach. I can't think of his name. But yeah, like it was a bunch of guys and Delirious. I loved Age of the Fall.
Oh man, shout out to Jimmy Jacobs.
Jimmy.
Oh man. All right. Well, we'll see what happens with Brian. Hopefully he doesn't lose and I can come back and be like, the reign continues, the reign of terror.
And all my indie wrestling fans that go to wrestling shows, the indie wrestling watcher king myself is returning to indie shows. I haven't been to an indie show in about 12 years, if not longer. So I'm probably coming to one near you. You guys come see me if you know me. If you see me, say something. I'll let you know the next one I'm going to. Probably next week.
MC Dub.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I haven't been to an MC Dub match in years.
We got to go to an MCW show. Those are usually fun.
Dude, definitely. No, they're so much fun. They're a lot of fun.
Wow.
Hey, I actually could probably get 2 tickets to a deathmatch show if you want to go.
Oh dear. Well, we got to talk about that because how far away are we going to be from the ring? Because I need to be at least like 30 feet away from the blood.
Oh, that's fine.
No. We'll figure
Bam Bam
was
Bam Bam. That was another good one. Bam Bam was one of my favorites too.
Bam Bam's a great one.
Bam Bam was one of the most agile big men I've ever seen, and that's taking nothing away from guys like Vader and even big guys now. But Bam Bam
is ready. Well, Trevor, what are you watching lately? Because I gotta go like now.
Like I said, I've been watching I watched the McMahon doc, and I have decided to start watching the Attitude Era again. I haven't watched it.
It's a hell of a watch, Trevor. It's a hell of a watch.
But I think I'm going to do it, and I'm going to review some of it. And you know where you're going to be able to see that? OT Graps.
YouTube.com/OT Graps. You can slowly see Trevor's childhood fade right before his very eyes because some of that shit is really bad.
It's so...
Trevor, look, I want to be the one to warn you right now. Sometimes it is indeed better to leave the memories alone.
Yes, it is. Because I did finally finish the WCW, because for me it was a rewatch.
Yeah, I go. Ooh.
For you, it was the first time, but it was, oh my God.
It was how fast that company went downhill after 98 was insane. Like,
it's insane. Absolutely insane. 2000 was almost unwatchable.
No, 2000, like, oh my God. Mid 2000 to the end, it was just like, that was, you cannot call that wrestling. Like,
no.
You cannot
I don't
call
know
that
what
wrestling.
No one knows what it was. It was awful.
And then they did the blandest rebrand in 2001, so it wasn't like goofy, but like it was just bland and tasteless, and bleh. It was bad. Oh my God.
The ministry stuff in the Attitude Era was a mixture of it was a mixture of good, cool, and criminal.
Where to, Stephanie?
Because, dude, the whole eating the dog thing was really like,
bro.
Trust me, you guys are gonna get a mouthful. I'm probably gonna start at the end of this month, and I'm gonna put one up at least one a week. At least try to do 2 a week. But if you guys are interested in me reviewing this and having a hell of a time doing it, come watch me.
Choppy. Choppy.
Yo.
You're gonna, bro. I don't know if you're ready, bro. I don't know if you're ready for that, bro.
I'm chubby and pee.
Have you picked a starting point yet?
I think I'm gonna try to. I think, honestly, when the Attitude Era kind of started, it was more so when Sean came out, did that interview with the roll of tape in his pants, and he had his shirt off. That was kind of the starting point. So I think I'm gonna do it around that time.
All right, so you're gonna have a few months of decent wrestling.
Yeah, and then they get into the yeah.
Oh man, the promos are great though. The promos are great.
The promos are great. Yeah, it was some of the best promos.
Am I wrong for enjoying stuff like that? And WWE doesn't. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, enjoy what you want, but Attitude Era was not great.
I mean, it wasn't great, but it was one of those things.
The personalities were insane. Like the
personality was insane. Yeah, it's one of those things. Like when you're in a Mystic, and I think it was about 97, 98. Once it's happening around you, it's like, okay, this is cool. I haven't seen this before. And then you're like, he did that. Like, okay, wait, he did. Okay, wait, what? And then you go back and you see what these people were allowed to get away with on TV. Like, you're like, what the fuck?
Insane. Insane.
But no, I actually prefer this to what's going on. I prefer some of the Attitude Era to what's going on now. Like the early beginnings of the Attitude Era, I prefer that over this. But once we get into the Choppy and the Ministry of Darkness and
give me 97 WCW, bro, for the win.
Oh, 97 WCW was classic. Phenomenal. 97, 98. Actually, no, 96, 97.
Yeah.
96, 97 was really, really good time around it. Dude, like, nobody knows how many stars they had. Like, they had so many. Shit, Buff Bagwell was a star. But Buff Bagwell was Rookie of the Year. Like, so many times. And Wrestler of the Year.
Multiple-time Rookie of the Year. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of bad.
Multiple times.
That's kind of bad. I don't know how that happens, but he did.
He's so good. He went back in time and won it twice.
Some of the dudes that he tagged with, he's won championships with like 4 different people.
Yep.
Like, I mean, say what you want. He was a piece of shit, but he was a great talent.
Warrior versus Hogan in WCW. That was a low point. That was definitely a low point.
You know what? Before I resaw it, before you mentioned it, I forgot that even happened.
It was so bad. Okay, I gotta run.
Trevor, all right,
buddy. Be happy, be healthy, and as always, keep it real.
Love those who are far, hug those who are close, and as always, take care of yourselves.
Peace.